Shalom Yasharallah, this is Yeshaya. Kind of started work early today, or at least getting to the job site early. And I just had a thought about something. A lot of people, there's a phrase that people overuse, which is, I don't sugarcoat shit. And that usually goes into how people present things to people. Now, it's one thing to not sugarcoat something, but I think that the sugarcoat argument is overused by people that are just looking for an excuse to be rude pieces of shit. I gotta be honest with you. The people, I've never heard somebody say, and remember what I said I've never heard. It doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. But I personally have never heard somebody say, I don't sugarcoat shit, that aren't rude assholes with the way. See, it's one thing to tell somebody the truth and be very straightforward about it. And it's a whole nother thing to go out of your way to be a rude piece of shit, a disrespectful asshole, and tell somebody something that might be true. And then your message get lost in how you say it to the person. I don't believe in sugarcoating either. I mean, I have to sugarcoat in my line of work and really around some of the sensitive assholes that I know as friends. And even sometimes brothers in the truth, you got to kind of sugarcoat shit. But I always try to present to a brother, because I remember one time another brother told the brother that I wanted to talk to him, and he knew that I wanted to rebuke him about something. That brother really had in his mind that I was going to curse him out and talk down to him. No. You're a grown-ass fucking man. I'm going to talk to you like a grown man is supposed to talk to another grown man. I'm going to talk to you with intelligence and appeal to your intellect and show you how the thing that you're being rebuked about, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I showed him because you have to understand your audience. Sometimes there are motherfuckers that are that hard-headed, and you got to curse them the fuck out. Most times, if you're dealing without agendas and you're dealing without being a conniving nigga, and you're not dealing with a conniving nigga, my experience is you can talk to brothers with intelligence. Meaning you can talk to them using your intelligence without being an asshole about shit. Because you got so many men out here that think talking shit or disrespectful to another brother is equal to telling them the truth. And very often it's not. You're just projecting something. That's what I noticed. Like people that say they don't sugarcoat shit. People that say they don't sugarcoat shit, they usually are just rude. That's all it is. I'm gonna read a scripture. Now this scripture is not a all what's the word I'm looking for? One size fits all, meaning there are cases where you're going to use this scripture and there are cases where you're going to employ other scriptures, right? But I'm going to just read Colossians 4:6. Let your speech be always with grace. So speak to people with respect. You don't everybody doesn't have to get cursed out. In fact, to say always is, in other words, always. It doesn't mean every single time. Like there are gonna be times where you're gonna have to spaz on them. There's gonna be times you're gonna have to use harsh language. But let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt. What does seasoned with salt mean? Sugarcoat, but not sugarcoat. Actually, let me be specific. I know I'm gonna hear from Shamir about that one, but let me be specific. Season is not coated. You don't coat it with salt. You sprinkle a little on it. That ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. So in other words, the preference is to always speak to people with respect and be more concerned with the way you project it, right? Because if you come across as somebody harsh, especially women and younger people, you have to be very careful how you deal with women and younger people. And also brothers. Now, a brother could punch you in your fucking face for you coming out. I've seen it happen. I've seen people get punched in the face, or people be about to get punched in the face for how they speak to people. You have to... I agree, don't sugarcoat it, because if you literally know what sugarcoating is, you coat it all with sugar. Right? It's one thing to have a little sugar on it, on your message, pause. And it's a whole nother thing to sugarcoat it. You don't cover it with fucking sweetness, but you sprinkle a little in there. Meaning, you speak to somebody correctly. You don't soften the message. You don't soften even the way you project it. But it doesn't give you the license to be rude and disrespectful to people. That's all I'm saying. Be selective in how you damn, I just had a scripture and then it went away. All right, another scripture, Isaiah 40:2. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received the Lord's hand double for all her sins. So now if you know those scriptures, Isaiah 40:1, I'm going to go back a verse. Comfort ye, my people, saith your God. So I simply don't get how we get from that to the way we speak to our people now. I don't get the way we speak to our people. And mind you, I'm going to go back to a scripture that we like to use, but now that you have the balance of it, this is what I want to impress upon you. The classic 58:1 Isaiah. Cry aloud. This is the same prophet that just said, speak comfortably to my people. Cry aloud, spare not. And spare does mean don't spare people feelings, don't spare nothing. Right? Lift up thy voice like a trumpet. Now, if you're lifting up your voice like a trumpet, you're not speaking comfortable. And show my people their transgressions, in the house of Jacob their sins. Now here, if you read the scripture carefully, this is basically camp. At camp, when you're out there teaching, you do have to project your voice. You do have to be loud. You will probably have to be forceful. But if you get somebody that's there listening, now you have to be a little bit more, employ a little bit more diplomacy tactics. First off, that person could very well be a genuine soul that wants to learn the word from you. Now, I know a lot of brothers will throw out my sheep hear my voice. I'm going to tell y'all something. Although you're right about that, it does not give you the fucking license to talk to people how you want. Because my sheep hear my voice, they could go to you and you could be telling them everything true and they reject it because of the way you come at them. And then they go to another camp. And that camp tells them, in a certain way, a more respectable way, and they might go with them. So now they got the fruit, and your dumbass is over here, yeah, fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? So now, granted, I'm gonna tell y'all, it does not. None of these are one size fits all. There are situations to cry aloud and spare not, and there are situations to comfort ye. This video is not knocking either teaching style. This video is telling you to practice both. Have both styles. Because you have people that come up with insincere debating questions and try to set up their points. And then you have people that are genuinely asking questions because they want to learn. And you have to know when to employ which strategy. But what I am going to tell you is that if your mentality is, I don't sugarcoat shit, I mean, in a way, you're right. And in fact, you're right in a literal sense. But I just see people in general, in the truth and out the truth, that say that they don't sugarcoat shit. They usually are just assholes with no respect for people, that think they're above people. So your version of I don't sugarcoat shit is I say what I have to say the rudest way possible, regardless of how you feel about it. And that's endangering you to either possibly offend a person who the Lord sent you to wake up. And they might wake up based on what you say to them, but they might not fully wake up because they don't want to hear the way you're talking to them. And there's been brothers that have said, you know, I remember a brother named Yaikwab that when I used to be with Zabak. He told me the first time that he ever saw a camp, it was Zabak cursing him out because he had something that looked like a G-Unit bulletproof vest or something, and he called them all types of names, and then later on came in the truth. There's gonna be times where but all I'm saying is be ready to employ both. Be ready to employ both. You can't live your whole life cursing people out. You can't. You have to learn how to use both. With my daughter, there's times that I have to toughen up on her. Don't do that. I'm not trying to put her name out there. But no, you can't do that. Don't do that. Listen to your mom. And there's times that I come to my daughter, and most of the time I come to my daughter with a softer, because my daughter brings the goofball out of me, the corniness, the little bit of corniness that I have, you know, because you have to know how to apply both. There are multiple ways to do this. There's not just one way, and that way is cursing everybody out. Your best teachers in Israel know how to use both. I've seen brothers, you know, and it's funny because the elders of GMS have had a reputation among Israel and in the streets as being these harsh. They're always so harsh. They're always angry. No, they're not. I've seen so many times where they are so edifying. Like they're so balanced in the way they teach. They teach hard when it's time to teach hard. You know, you don't get somebody that's coming up to you to listen to you and you shoot them in the head with a 12-gauge shotgun. No, those are the people you feed. You say, hey, here's the scriptures, here's the information. And then when somebody comes all arrogant and fucking like Elder Atazwan. I'll never forget. This is the most memorable moment because that brother is usually very level-headed. And this so-called Hispanic man, I think he's married to an Edomite or something. He kept coming up and trying to debate, real arrogant. Don't got shit, but trying to fucking be arrogant. And out of nowhere, Atazwan was just like, shut up! He said, shut up! Because that's the time to cry aloud and spare not. Because that guy wasn't trying to hear the word to come and possibly, there was little to no chance that man was trying to genuinely learn the word of the Lord. That man was there to gainsay. And Atazwan, as surprising as he was, he shocked me and Tazaiwan. Now, me and Tazaiwan, we come from rough areas where you used to hearing fucking people fighting and shooting and shit. And he shocked us. For him, such a calm brother. Shut up! It's you need that too. So if you take anything out of this video, number one, understand that you have to have multiple styles of teaching. The best rappers, the best actors, they have range, right? You do things, you do things different ways. You know, like a mouse, you find your way out. You know, you have to be, when you navigate this truth, you have to navigate it in a way that you have to figure out how somebody's going to understand something, right? A lot of times, and this is what I do, when somebody comes up to the camp and they're wearing a work uniform, I try to find a way to explain to them the things in the scriptures using terms that I think that they would use. Let's say a cop comes to learn the word. You know, so you start referring to the Edomites or Wicked Jake like a criminal. That's like you catching a criminal, or, you know, something to that effect. Like if you get somebody who, you know, maybe they share with you, hey, I'm a fireman, you know, so you know, oh yeah, the Lord is gonna cause this whole place to go up in flames. America's gonna burn forever. You know, I mean, I'm not saying literally that's the example to use, but I'm saying, like, you know, that's part of becoming all things to all men. One thing that I'm pause big on. One thing that I'm a big advocate of is becoming all things to all men. It does not mean if a guy comes up and says he's a sodomite but he wants to learn the word, that you got to become a sodomite. No, what it means is find something that he can relate to and press upon that spiritually. You know, let him know, hey, look, I know that, but you have to recognize those are demons trying to get you away from the Lord. By you becoming a homosexual, you're feeding into the demons that are keeping you from true spirituality. You know, whichever way you got to explain it to him, explain it to him. Now, if he buck up, if he starts getting arrogant or disrespectful, then you employ the harsh tactics. So, again, going back to what I was, you know, closing off, the two things that I want to impress upon y'all with this video is have multiple teaching styles. Don't approach everybody. Don't teach everybody. You customize your teaching to the people. That's what we did in the scriptures. Don't get it twisted. We customized our teaching to our audience. If we don't have an audience, then again, you employ the cry aloud, spare not. Or if you have an audience of gainsayers or a person in the crowd that's a gainsayer, by all means. But if you're speaking to someone interpersonal and they're sharing things about their life with you, they're confiding things, especially if you one of them groups that just can't teach without the camera. They're telling you and the world things about personal details. So it's your job to customize your teaching to reach that person. Second thing I want to impress upon you is do not take this scripture, Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not, to mean that every time somebody comes up to the camp, you got to be harsh with them. Sometimes you have to employ, and I don't want to use soft skills. I say diplomacy. You don't have to be soft. A man not supposed to be soft. But a man supposed to know how to teach. A man of wisdom knows how to teach people. You know, I know that I got a little bit of an advantage. I went to school to be a teacher, so I took a few psychology classes. But that does not mean that as a brother, you shouldn't know how to project yourself, how to speak to people. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.